Hi, welcome to Dark Night Healing. My name is Julie, and this is my channel and my platform to help others heal. I'm going to tell you a bit about my story today. I was born in 1979. I am married to a wonderful man who we've been together for almost 28 years now. Married for 25 this June. We have 4 children together. The youngest is 17 and the oldest is turning 26 next week. It's been a long, hard road to get to where I am now. I started my healing when I was about, I'll say 12 or 13 is when I started this initial start to my healing journey. My primary parent separated from my other parent when I was 4 years old. There was parental alienation for over a decade, and step-parents and boyfriends, girlfriends, step-siblings, half-siblings, all of it in the mix during that time. Also a lot of drugs, alcohol, partying, unstableness, fighting. My primary parent made a lot of decisions that affected me and my siblings greatly. I, being the oldest child, once they left my other parent, I became kind of like a co-parent once I got older, and had to take care of my siblings and manage the household and cook and clean. I was doing this by the age of 10 years old. My primary parent had a breakdown and was put into the hospital. That's when I started doing 2 a.m. feedings. Within 2 or 3 years, my primary parent left their partner at that time again. There was a lot of people coming and going in my life. We had a revolving door. We never had a door locked. People were coming and going at all times. It was kind of a crazy environment, really, even though it looked like it was safe and stable. A lot of fighting. In 1992, my primary parent decided that they were not going to see a doctor anymore and not taking medication anymore because it made them feel funny. After that time period, I became more of a full-time parent towards my siblings because of this change in dynamic. Obviously, it hurt our relationship between me and my primary parent quite a bit. These are responsibilities that were not supposed to be mine, but I learned at a very young age that I was already smarter and more reliable than they were. I was parenting them by the time I was a late teenager. They made a lot of decisions that affected me greatly. Alcohol, we drank as kids. As teenagers, we smoked weed. My primary parent actually used to give us Kahlua and milk, brown cows, for those of you who know what that is. They used to give it to us when we were children before bed so that we would sleep, which as an adult now worries me even more because I was molested as a child, as a young teen. There were signs, so if you're watching this, you probably have a suspicion as to who it was. I didn't understand what was going on at the time because I was intoxicated, and you shouldn't be drinking when you're 13 and 12 and 14, and it was just the culture of how we grew up. my parents hung out with bikers and a lot of drug dealers and stuff when I was younger. So it kind of set the tone for everything. My uncles weren't also the greatest, even though they were put in charge of us children. There was a year there, I think my uncles were in the newspaper probably 3 or 4 times. And my one uncle especially, he got into trouble quite a bit because he was special needs and people influenced him greatly. But being that he was undiagnosed special needs, no one knew. It took one of his court cases for it to come out that he was special needs, and it thankfully helped him recover a little bit, but not fully. For me, though, I never really got too much of a childhood. I was working by the time I was 14 with my primary parent in their business. High school was almost a write-off. I can't even believe I managed to actually get enough credits to cross the stage because they were constantly telling me to go to work with them. My family favored my siblings over me. There was an accident, really, when I was 6 months old. One of my great-grandparents was playing with me, and they had a stroke that put them in a wheelchair for life. This one's hard. And it put them in a home. And the resulting actions of that accident opened a lot of can of worms in my family. And I was blamed as an infant for many to this day. I felt that energy every day of my life, and I couldn't figure out why certain family members, I always had this negative reaction around, or a negative feeling, no matter how hard I tried, no matter how many hugs I gave, it was really painful. And as I got older, they explained what happened. Some of my family did anyway. And I didn't understand the feeling still, but I understood that it was my fault, apparently. And because of that, it did a lot of damage to the family. And even though I should not have been blamed for that accident, I was. And I'm sure they all regret it now, but it did shape a lot of my life. I've known since I was a small child I was different. I always got weird reactions from people. My uncle gave me the nickname Resident Authority because I don't even understand, but I think it's because I couldn't not tell the truth, and I spoke clearly, and I wouldn't take a fantasy for a truth. I felt that I was protected and watched. I always felt like I was being watched. Sometimes it turned out that I was really being watched. I had a number of, I was molested. I had peeping Toms galore, flashers, everything, you name it. So projectors who are meant to be seen, you get seen, but sometimes you get seen by the wrong people. And I did for a long, long time. But many things happened, and I made decisions, based off of the information I had at the time, which, was do what your parents say. So I did. My mom said, get up on Sunday night at 10 o'clock and drink the 6-pack in the fridge. I would argue with her to a point, but eventually I would just sit down and drink the 6-pack before school. Like, they will vehemently deny this, but it happened. I have friends that I actually smuggled beer to at school because I hated beer. I didn't like the taste of beer. I had been forced to drink it so much that I hated it. And so a few times I actually smuggled them to school and gave them to my friend because I wasn't going to drink them. No. He was already an alcoholic at this time and had been told he needed to stop drinking or he'd die before he was 30. So, here you go. Have some more beer. Hindsight's 20/20, right? You're kids, you make stupid decisions. Even though I was smarter than my primary parent, I still made stupid decisions. I had sex, I smoked weed, I drank, I did all of that. I also, however, was a public speaker. When I was 12 years old, I started a program called Alateen. Alateen, I don't know why I said it that way, which was to help with one of my step-parents drinking. Entering this program, I learned that most of the people in my family were alcoholics. That was a hard one to swallow, but I had some people to help me. I had people to talk to. I knew that it wasn't my fault anymore, and I could stop blaming myself. So that was the biggest thing that came out of Alateen. I went all over the place talking to people, but by the time I got to 17, I had some issues with the program. Alateen, Al-Anon, and all family groups at AA teach you that it is a family disease because it affects you all. I eventually had to walk away from that because that is good when you're starting out, but it is not the truth. It is, 1, not your fault. 2, you are not responsible for anything that they do. And 3, it's a choice. The reason why it's a family's disease is because it's a choice, straight down from the beginning part of it. They chose to do the drugs, and if they chose to get mad at you, fight with you, steal from you, hurt you, blame you, it's still a choice. And if you choose to stay in that, it's also a choice. It's your choice. It's your choice to put up with their disease. It's not your disease. It's not even a disease. A disease is cancer. A disease is diabetes. A disease is something you have to live with every day of your life. There's no cure. There's no, I can just put down the bottle and all my problems go away. No. That doesn't happen. You have to accept the fact that they are choosing to do so. They're doing this. It's a choice. You have to choose to walk away. You have to choose to be the one who's not going to enable that behavior anymore. And if you can't do it, then it is going to be a family disease. So I walked away. And I told the addicts in my life as such, this is not my problem. You're making it my problem, and I'm not going to put up with it anymore. My family had a lot of shady dealings, crooks, prospects, bikers, you name it, everything. My grandfather and my grandparents, however, were upstanding members of the city of Edmonton. My grandfather was well known across Alberta, and he was a shrewd businessman. You listened when he talked. Unfortunately, when he passed away, it was like the zookeeper died and all the animals escaped, and there was no protection now. I've been protected my whole life. by my ancestors and by my spirits. You ask how I think I know this? Because in all of that stuff that I was in, even though I was molested, even though I was hurt, beaten up, told the worst things about myself on a daily basis, and made to feel like I was never good enough, not smart enough, everything. It was hard. But I still know I was protected. There's still certain things in my life that never happened. I was surrounded by drug addicts and alcoholics. Did I drink? Yes, it was fairly normal back in the 80s and the 90s. Everyone was drinking. Did we know it was a problem? No. But being surrounded by all these people, and drug addicts especially, I was never once offered hard drugs. Never once. Not cocaine, not ecstasy, not Molly, not heroin. Any one of my family members, most of them, 80% of them were doing it, and anyone who's watching this and knows me knows this. My baby cousins were doing it. Which is shocking to me when I found out. But when I looked back at our history and I saw, well, yeah, no, it makes sense. Makes sense. But I couldn't figure out why. No one, and I mean literally no one, has ever had off this. Not my siblings that were doing these hard drugs, not my friends that were doing these hard drugs, not my uncles, not my best friends, not their parents. Nobody offered me these hard drugs. Not once. They talk about it in front of me. They talk about doing it in front of me. Never been offered. Not once. So even all those horrible things happened to me, I was still protected. I've never been without food. I've never been without shelter. I've never been without clothes. And I have never been offered hard drugs. Never. I've been protected by my ancestors and my spirits because I've learned I'm here for a purpose. My purpose is to help you. My purpose is for the other. Me investing 20, almost 30 years of my life into me has been a waste. I've literally gotten nowhere. I'm 45 years old and I live in an apartment. I had bought 2 houses and trailers with a loan that I had gotten from somebody who believed in me. One person in my life finally believed in me, and my family destroyed that. I ended up $20,000 in debt with no home because I was removed from them for what they did. Social service and the police removed me and my children and my husband from my family, telling us that we cannot have any contact with them until my children are over the age of 18, or they'll be taken. My daughter just turned 17 in October, so I'm waiting for the other shoe to fall. If you're all wondering why I don't have any contact with my family, that's why. They called social services trying to have the children removed for us. Social services did an investigation and found out that I'd been abused for years, 36 years of my life. And they took us out. They gave us money and told us to move and told us to never go back. My favorite sibling helped us. He made sure we had a place to stay for a few weeks till we found a house. And within 2 years, he betrayed me too. I had to let him go because he was talking to the people that I was not allowed to talk to. And he didn't even have any blood relation to these people. He was from the opposite side of my family. There was no reason for him to do this, but he did. So here I am, 45 years old. My daughter's almost about to turn 18. And I'm waiting for them to show up. again. But this time, they're not coming back. This time they don't get in. This time I'm standing on my own 2 feet and I'm standing alone. And I don't need them. It's been a long, hard road. And they told me to leave the past in the past. They told me to leave it alone and let it be. Don't bring it up. It don't matter. Just move on. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to break the cycles. So in order to break the cycles, I have to learn the past. So I did. I did. And I'm so happy that I did. Because in doing so, I found the family that I was meant to be with. They had no idea I existed. They had no idea that my dad existed. It was a complete and utterly divine intervention that my father was even born. So, this is why I'm here today. I'm here to use my experience and what I've learned in the last 45 years through trauma and grief and sickness and just always feeling like I was never good enough. Like I was cursed, and that no matter what I did, I was going to be miserable, so I might as well enjoy misery. But that's not the truth. The truth is, I wasn't living how I was supposed to. So now that I have found out how I'm supposed to live, I'm going to put it into practice, and I'm going to try and help everyone else. And you. I'm here to help you. So if I can help any of you in any way, or if just by watching my videos helps you, then I have accomplished my goal. I am not someone who wants to have $1 billion. I never have. I've always just wanted a very comfortable life with a small little house, a small little yard maybe, or maybe a big yard. I've never really wanted anything but love. And that was the one thing I didn't get. So I'm going to give it to everybody else. I'm very lucky that the universe did send me a husband, although we have had our problems. He has always allowed me to be me. He's allowed me to go on my journey. He allowed me to study the Bible, become a witness. He's allowed me to explore my witch side. He's given me a lot of things that a lot of other people haven't. And no, it has not been easy or perfect. But he never stops supporting my dreams. He's the only one who's never stopped supporting my dreams. Even when he thought I was nuts, he never stopped supporting me. So I am so grateful to the universe that he never gave up, because there was a lot of times when I was really worried that my family had done so much damage that he would leave. They hated him. My primary parent especially tried so hard to get him out of my life, get him arrested. It was just really horrible. I can't believe he stayed. I really can't, because nobody else would have. So I'm very grateful for that. No one would have stayed. I'm very lucky to have found my soulmate in all of this at such a young age, because obviously I needed that. So thank you to my spirits and my ancestors, my grandpa, my dad, my nan, who are protecting me from beyond. Thank you for always being here for me. And thank you everyone for listening to my story. I hope that any of this helps you. And if you're looking to learn how to start healing yourself, just reach out. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you and have a great day.